Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Tuesday, so welcome to Tuesday's video. Now, today we're going to be talking about, you might have guessed it already, Ken Griffin, because he's a very important man, because he's a billionaire. Well, no, you know why he's important. He's important because he's a little weasel, and he stole from us. He's still stealing from us, so we got to talk about him, baby. Let me ask y'all a question. What do you do when you want to hide something? Well, of course, you hide it. Not all of us are able to hide things, well, at least not as well as Ken Griffin can, because we do not have the financial resources to be able to do so, right? But Ken Griffin, on the other hand, being a billionaire and all, and steady increase in his net worth as we speak, he's able to hide things, right, from the public eye. He's able to hide things from the media. Heck, he freaking influences the media. He's able to direct the media on what they should be reporting to us, the dumb money, right? Speaking of dumb money, actually, it's kind of what today's topic is about, dumb money. How exactly does Ken Griffin hide something or try to get away with it? Well, number one, allegedly, okay, he could be paying people off, right? He controls the media. That's number two. Well, what about bullying? That's something that we don't give enough attention to when speaking of Ken Griffin. But we all know that he bullies people left and right. Not just people, but businesses. And lately, it's been Sony. That's right, Sony. Now, why in the heck, ask yourself this, would Ken Griffin want to bully Sony? And what in the heck does Sony have to do with Ken Griffin? 2 words. Dumb money. It's a movie. I've mentioned it before in one of my previous videos, probably a few videos back. I think it was last week. Haven't checked it out. Please go do so because it's like cool. Anyhow, Ken Griffin had a problem with how he was portrayed in that movie. And more specifically than that, Ken Griffin also had a problem with how his company, Citadel, was portrayed in that movie. One issue he had is with how the company was portrayed when they gave that I'm sorry, did I use an M for million? I meant B for billion. $2 billion bailout to Gabe Plotkin of Melvin Capital. Ken Griffin didn't like that. He's like, hey, stop talking about that. Stop showing it in movies. But it's the truth. Otherwise, it wouldn't be in movies now, would it? Because everything we see on TV is true. Maybe. Anyhow, I got this article I ran across, which gave me all of this wonderful information, so I want to read it to you guys and share it with you today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. So this article is entitled, Citadel's Ken Griffin is not happy with his portrayal on GameStop's movie, Dumb Money. Griffin voiced his displeasure with how he and his company were portrayed in the recently released movie, Dumb Money, which focuses the GameStop stock saga. Man, talk about a tongue twister. According to an article in the Financial Times, it seems that billionaire investor Ken Griffin, founder of Citadel LLC, isn't too happy about how he's portrayed in the movie Dumb Money, which covers the story of GameStop's, or GME's, epic short squeeze in early 2021. He's gone as far as sending legal letters to Sony Pictures. Now, that's what I call bullying, to voice his displeasure. Now, if you're sending somebody legal letters, I don't think you're just voicing your displeasure. You're pretty much telling them to cease and desist. So you're going to ask them to remove the movie? Wow, I don't think so, buddy. Rebecca Angelo, the movie's producer, said that crafting the screenplay was quite the task. They had to make up fictional characters to represent millions of Wall Street Bets users, while also featuring real people such as Keith Gill, aka Roaring Kitty, Gabriel Plotkin, and Kenneth Griffin, or, Kenny G, CEO of Citadel, in the film. Griffin is played by Nick Offerman. Griffin was also mad and sent out several legal letters talking about how Brad Pitt should have played him and not this Nick Offerman guy. Okay, I might have made that last part up, but who cares? It's still funny, right? And just recently, Puck has claimed that they've got their hands on one of Griffin's legal letters, in which the billionaire opines that the movie crosses the line into the knowingly false and defamatory portrayal of Ken and Citadel Securities. Griffin's letter was addressed to Sony Pictures' top lawyer. What has Citadel to do with GameStop's short squeeze? Citadel's involvement in the GameStop short squeeze story is quite the tale. Back in January 2021, GameStop stock went parabolic, gaining a mind-blowing 2,000% in just mere weeks. GME shares reached an intraday high of over $480 a piece before falling back just slightly lower, though still highly elevated levels. So, what caused this wild roller coaster ride? In short, it was a short squeeze, no pun intended. In January of 2021, 140% of GameStop's shares were being held short. In plain English, this means a tremendous amount of money was betting against GameStop stock. Institutional investors who were short GameStop would sell borrowed GameStop shares, which they hoped to repay later with shares bought back at a lower price, netting themselves a tidy profit. When an army of retail investors, I think they're talking about the Apes here, began snapping up GameStop shares, however, GME's price rose sharply, forcing many shorts to exit their positions by buying shares. This in turn drove GME's price up further, and this cycle prompted a historic short squeeze. Here's where Citadel enters the picture. One of the hedge funds caught in the GME frenzy was Melvin Capital, run by Gabe Plotkin. They had bet big against GameStop and took an absolute beating as the stock went to the moon. Citadel, however, rode in with a cool $2 billion to bail out Melvin Capital and keep them afloat. That's not the end of the story, however. Citadel Securities, the market maker arm of Citadel, was soon accused of making unethical and potentially illegal dealings with Robinhood. When Robinhood suddenly prevented its user base, the same retail traders who'd driven GameStop stock sky high from buying more GameStop shares, users started pointing fingers at Citadel Securities, that is, suggesting they had a hand in it. Citadel Securities quickly fired back, however, saying they had nothing to do with Robinhood's decision. This whole circus ended up prompting a congressional hearing during which Ken Griffin defended his firm against any wrongdoing. Further drama led to a showdown held at the House Financial Services Committee. But here's the twist. It turned out pretty well for Ken Griffin. He stood his ground, denied any funny business, and came out unscathed. And then in November 2021, a U.S. District Court stepped in and stated essentially that there was zero evidence that Robinhood and Citadel were in cahoots. The case was closed, and that was the end. Ken Griffin is not a fan of speculative assets. GameStop saga aside, Ken Griffin has also taken some heat for his opinions on other meme stocks and speculative assets. He didn't hold back in criticizing retail investors who jumped on the meme stock bandwagon in early 2021. He argued that their actions had negative consequences, adversely affecting pension funds and the economy at large. Griffin went on to say that the government's response to the COVID pandemic, which involved pumping a ton of money into households, fueled excessive speculation in assets such as NFTs, cryptocurrencies, and you guessed it, meme stocks. According to Griffin, all that money could have been put to better uses, such as supporting medical research or education. Now, here's the opinion of the author of this article. Ken Griffin is a major player on Wall Street, and Citadel, the hedge fund he heads, had a record-breaking year in 2022. They raked in a jaw-dropping $16 billion in profits and managed a whopping $62.3 billion in assets. Given the company's size and success, it's no wonder that a negative spotlight would raise eyebrows and concern over at Citadel. However, lost in some of the controversy is the fact that in the Dumb Money movie, Griffin and Gabriel Plotkin of Melvin Capital aren't exactly painted as the villains. Rather, they're more like the byproducts of a broken financial system. Well, you just heard all that, I suppose, and, you can form your own opinion. Like I said, please let me know in the comments below what you guys think after you smash that thumbs up button. But my opinion remains the same, and you guys all know my opinion. It's that Ken Griffin is a greasy, grimy crook, and he owes us all a lot of bananas or some money, whichever one you prefer. Leave that in the comments too. Please let me know which one you prefer.